welcome back to another episode of Francis Entertainment Center. Today's story is called Inside Out. Enjoy the video. A girl named Riley is born in Minnesota, and in her mind, at different points in her life, 5 living emotions are created: joy, sadness, fear, disgust, and anger. Each emotion has a defined purpose in Riley's life. Joy attempts to keep her happy. Anger keeps her life fair. Disgust keeps her from being poisoned, both physically and socially, and fear keeps her safe. Sadness, however, doesn't think she has a purpose in her mind or that of the other emotions, and is ignored as a result. Riley's memories are housed in glass spheres known as memory orbs. The most relevant memories, known as core memories, power up 5 islands in Riley's subconscious, each reflecting a different aspect of her personality: Family Island, Friendship Island, Goofball Island, Hockey Island, and Honesty Island. When Riley is 11 years old, her family moves to San Francisco after her father starts a new business. However, the new house is horrible. The only pizza they serve is California pizza, which is a pizza topped with broccoli, and the moving van won't arrive for weeks. The emotions try everything in their power to make the moving process a pleasant experience, only to turn on sadness when she turns a happy memory orb into a sad one by touching it and accidentally causes a core memory to fall out. Where that memories cannot be changed once turned sad, Joy then decides to keep sadness occupied by having her read a stack of mind manuals the entire day. On Riley's first day of school, Joy offers sadness to stay in a chalk circle and let the other emotions do their job. But sadness touches a memory that makes Riley cry in front of her new class, which creates a new sad core memory. Joy desperately tries to dispose of it by using a vacuum tube that leads to the mind world, but a struggle with sadness leads to the core memories being knocked out from the container. Before Joy can put them back, she and sadness are carried off the core memories, leaving disgust, fear, and anger to deal with Riley. The remaining emotions attempt to pretend to be Joy in order to navigate Riley through dinner, but she struggles to do so. Anger eventually has an outburst at Riley's father, who punishes her by sending her to her room, then fruitlessly tries to comfort her in her room. Meanwhile, after Goofball Island is destroyed, Joy and Sadness venture the various islands and a labyrinth-like place called Long-Term Memory, where Riley's past memories are stored. They're soon assisted by Riley's childhood imaginary friend, Bing Bong, a scrappily dressed pink cotton candy elephant cat dolphin creature. Bing Bong was hoping to reconnect with Riley via a memory of his song-powered wagon Rocket. Although initially, Bing Bong is happy and cheerful, the pair discovers that he is secretly miserable, having been out of a job since Riley was 4. He desperately wants to feel loved again, reasoning that if he has no purpose, he will cease to exist. Although Joy attempts to keep this revelation positive, sadness comforts a crying Bing Bong, which leaves Joy more confused than ever as to how being sad could only help Bing Bong. Bing Bong discovers that his rocket has already been dumped into the memory dump, a seemingly never-ending pit of darkness beneath headquarters, where obsolete memories go to be erased from existence for good. Meanwhile, in Riley's mind, anger, disgust, and fear are doing their best to guide Riley through her new surroundings. Anger accidentally instigates a confrontation with Riley's friend Meg when video chatting with her, which causes the island which controls this part of her personality, Friendship Island, to collapse into the dump. The emotions realize that tampering with Riley's personality will cause it to further be erased, with potentially disastrous results. Joy, Sadness, and Bing Bong hatch a plan to ride the train of thought back to headquarters and begin to trek through various parts of Riley's mind in order to reach the loading dock, areas such as Imagination Land, Dream Productions, and so on. Meanwhile, with disgust, anger, and fear in control, Riley's life begins to crumble. She alienates her former friends from Minnesota, fails to connect with her parents, and struggles in the new school. As Joy and company close in on their destination, Anger, disgust, and fear finally reasoned that if Riley was only happy in Minnesota, there is no choice but to tell her to return there and prepare to run away from her own family. At night, Joy and her fellow emotions finally reach the loading dock. Although it is now so late that the train of thought will not arrive until morning, they give Riley a nightmare by waking a monstrous clown named Jangles from her conscious, and fear, being on dream duty that night, awakens her, jump-starting the train of thought. Joy, Sadness, and Bing Bong are nearly at headquarters when the other bunch of emotions put their plan into action, instructing Riley to steal from her mother's bag and pack it to run away to Minnesota. This action causes Riley's Honesty Island to crumble, derailing the train of thought. Joy finds a way back to headquarters through a broken recall tube, but after Sadness almost turns the core memory sad, Joy decides to leave her and Bing Bong behind. She starts at the tube. As Riley leaves the house, Family Island begins to crumble, destroying the tube and causing Joy to fall into the memory dump. Bing Bong tries to get her, but the ground he was standing on crumbles, while Sadness barely escapes the same fate. It seems that all hope is lost, as in a matter of minutes Joy and Bing Bong will be forgotten and cease to exist. Joy, in despair, starts to gather the core memories and reminisce about happier times, stating, "I just wanted Riley to be happy." Looking at one of the memories, she realizes that when Riley was sad, it caused her parents and friends to comfort her, making her happy again. Joy realizes that Sadness' main role in Riley's personality is to tell others when she needs help, and by preventing Riley from feeling sad, she is also preventing her from feeling true happiness. This revelation energizes Joy and Bing Bong, who sees his rocket in the dump. They decide to use it to return to the top, but are dismayed when it falls short every time, no matter how loudly they sing. Bing Bong figures out that they're too heavy together and starts the rocket one last time, then jumps off as it begins to fly. Joy looks back on Bing Bong in the memory dump as she realizes Bing Bong's act of selflessness. Bing Bong cheers on Joy to go save Riley. As he starts to fade away, Bing Bong lastly asks Joy, "Take her to the moon for me, okay?" Joy sorrowfully watches Bing Bong fade away and promises that she will try to fulfill his last wish. Joy grabs the bag full of Riley's core memories and attempts to reconcile with Sadness, but discovers that Sadness has run away from her, hopped onto a cloud, and flew away, believing that she only makes everything worse and that Riley is better off without her. Using various tools from Imagination Land, Joy launches herself from the trampoline on Family Island, grabbing Sadness and sending the two flying towards headquarters. However, a thick window separates them from the other emotions, and Anger desperately tries to break it using a chair. When this fails, Disgust has an idea. As Anger gets frustrated, Disgust purposely insults his intelligence, making Anger furious and causing his head to go up in flames. Disgust uses him as a blowtorch to melt the window, allowing Joy and Sadness to return. Although the other emotions beg her to stop Riley from running away and fix the relationship between her and her parents, Joy turns control over to Sadness, which surprises the others. Sadness successfully removes the idea of running away from Riley's mind, which fixes the control panel and makes Riley give up on running away, and she decides to return home to her worried parents. Joy gives Sadness the happy memories, and they turn into sad ones. Sadness takes control over the panel, and Riley finally reveals her true feelings to her parents as she begins to cry, telling her parents that she hates San Francisco and misses her old life in Minnesota, and that she had been pretending to be happy because she was afraid they'd be mad if she stopped being their happy girl. Riley's parents admit they share her sadness and begin to comfort her. Sadness and Joy press the button together, making Riley cry tears of joy, creating a new core memory, only this one is a mixture of yellow and blue, both joy and sadness. It creates a new Family Island that is visibly more complete and allows the various aspects of her personality to return in full. A year later, Riley has recovered. She now has new personality islands, most created by mixed core memories, Anger notes that he likes how Friendship Island has expanded with a new friendly argument section, suggesting that this uh, that island is powered by a joy and anger core memory. Meanwhile, sadness is finally treated as an equal among the other four emotions. Joy solemnly remembers Bing Bong's sacrifice as things begin to return to normal, and Riley, now 12 years old, adapts to life in a new city. Finally, the five emotions now have a larger, more complete console with which they can act at the same time and help Riley better. Disgust also notes a large red alarm labeled puberty and questions what it does. However, Joy dismisses it as not important. Meanwhile, at a hockey game, Riley picks up a water bottle belonging to a boy, and inside his mind, his own emotions are shown, freaking out with a large klaxon alarm blaring girl, possibly hinting at what is to come for Riley's own emotions in the coming years.